Word,
It's
word,
all good.
word. Well, it's good to have you on today, Tyrone. It's great to connect with you, bro. Yeah, Tyrone and I go back a few years now, and he's always been, you know, as big of an influence to me, and not only my playing, but just how you go about life. And I've always appreciated his guidance and mentorship throughout my path. So it's pretty cool to have you on today, just to talk shop and see how you're doing throughout this whole process, bro. So
Yes, sir.
with that being said, how are you living these days, man? I can't think of a busier drummer that this has affected more than you,
Um,
Tyrone.
yeah, man. It's been it is what it is at this point. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah,
Nothing you can really do about it. It's out of control. It's in God's hands, and that's basically where I'm leaving it at right now. You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, a lot of folks have been sending like relief aid, so I've been filling that out.
yeah,
If you haven't did unemployment, do unemployment. Get on that.
yeah. I hopped on that this week, bro. Just
Hmm.
this last week, it took me a second to get my bearings, but now I feel like I'm in the process. So
Yeah. So just like I said, just taking it day by day, man. Matter of fact, I see you got that Swatkin shirt on, bro.
oh, I gotta
Pos-
stay repping the homies, man.
that positive agenda, yeah, man.
We're
Swatkin's
keeping
actually
it
dropped me off a
positive
base.
these days, man. We're keeping it positive.
Nice, nice. Yeah, Swatkin's actually dropped me off a base, man. So I've been actually picking up the bass, trying to get another instrument down.
Oh man,
So
you don't need another instrument to be the best player like on in the pocket anyways, dude. Chill out on that, Tyrone. Chill out. Oh man, so I was just checking in with you right before we got live, but what's it feel like? I guess to go from just working mostly every day. Sometimes you got two gigs a day on some of your busy weeks, but I guess what's that like mentally? Just to revert to like not being able to play live at all right now.
uh, I'd be lying if I said I'm not going a little crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I just love playing, and I just love playing in front of people. That's my therapy. It's all our therapy when we're playing music.
Yep.
I've been eating way too many snacks, so I got to chill out from that. But
As we all are, bro. It's true.
but overall, I've been able to get some little house projects done around here, and like I said, Swak has dropped off the bass the other day, so I've been working about an hour and a half on the bass, trying to learn Logic and Ableton and all that stuff a little better too. Because I do actual commercials for Marmoset. I'm an actual artist on Marmoset.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get better at creating, copy paste. I suck at computers, so this has been the best time to, get, try to fix catch myself up. These millennial kids, man, y'all killing it, man.
Yeah, man, I can relate major, right? It's like I haven't had time to like work on video recording and open Logic and what I was telling other homies like in our recent drum chats in like months. So I'm hoping to kind of take this time in the same vein and workshop that shit to get a little bit more like of a workflow and not make it so daunting to where like when shit gets back to the usual grind, like we can still keep that in not just on the back burner, but like in the regular repertoire. So I'm
Yeah,
doing my best to like get good at this Logic and video recording shit during this time and really take advantage of the downtime that we would normally have to work on the shit because we're busy rehearsing and gigging and learning like 20 bands music for the month. So
exactly.
you know um but yeah, bro. So other than bass, are you playing any drums these days with your downtime? Like, are you shedding it all?
No shedding at all, man. Just you know, my shed is practicing and rehearsing. Listening to people music, rehearsing and
Yeah,
playing live shows. So because I really don't have like a garage or nothing like that. I do have a garage. I got stuff in there, and it's not made for rehearsing. So
I got you. Yeah, you don't have a kit set up in your house.
it's set up, but it's all in pieces. You know what I'm saying? It's the kick drum a couple of times, but the cymbals and all that stuff, they all in the bag just chilling, man. So yeah.
Oh man. Well, I'm sure there's gonna be a force that's ready to come out when we're ready to get back to playing
man.
shows, bro.
I can't
I
wait.
wanna be there if I'm free for your first hit, because like several months of no Tyrone drumming, man, that's gonna be extra crazy. Whatever comes out of you that night, I want to be there to see it, dude.
But like I said, I've been able to put that energy into a computer and like playing getting the bass down. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I mean, cool thing with the bass too is helping me with my ear for notes and stuff like that, because I have pretty good pitch and I know what I hear and I want to be able to call it out. Or when somebody says 2/5 chord progression, I want to be able to be able to do that. So it's not as bad as it seems. It's just you just have to redirect the energy towards something else that's going to help build you.
Yeah, man, that's beautiful. I've taken a similar approach to like teaching myself some theory with some Buds helps in terms of that in the last, I guess, 6 or 8 months, but like mostly focus on the keyboard and just trying to be able to begin to write music. I know you also write a lot of your own music without like the notated background, so I kind of another source of inspiration like through your playing. But like when you release those albums like the last couple of years, I was like, I know you had help in arranging, and some of those songs were written by some of our other close friends, but I know you had a lot of those ideas, and like it was inspiring to see like without like a ton of knowledge on another instrument, or like being prolific on another instrument, you can still like write music. And so for me, I've taken a similar approach this year, just like learning how to compose music with just enough knowledge, and then like having my homies that are obviously like incredible musicians fill in the gaps and be like, hey, this is the concept, like can you help me out here, and like kind of like here's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Well, what we must understand and always remember this.
Yeah.
Is that with music, it's the ear. This was, the feel in the ear was here before the notes came.
Yep.
So once you get up over here and you hear it, you can sit down with somebody that plays that instrument and get your idea out to them, and that's kind of the approach I take, so.
Yeah, I love that, man. Like I said, that's a major influence for me. And like when I listened to your first Volume 1 album, I was like, oh man, Tyrone's got some shit to say musically. And it's cool because it sounded like all of the influences that I hear on your gigs and like your background and whatnot. But it was really rad to see, I guess, a project of a lot of your own compositions and stuff being worked out with great players.
And then, what's funny is that my mom said when I was a little kid, and it's amazing because my son Takilo, my 9-year-old, he's doing the same thing my mom said I did when I was a little kid. I'd just be like beating on pots and pans, but she said I would be humming the music, and she said I would have like a full arrangement of a song while I'm playing it. And now look at my 9-year-old, and he's doing the same exact thing. I'm like, oh, that's a miniature me right there. Like it's looking in a mirror, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, bro, that's the little homie that comes out to gigs and sits in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's gonna be a monster, dude. I see him behind the scenes just playing pocket. I'm like, man, this kid's gonna have such an unfair advantage with Papa Tyrone, man. This shit's gonna be crazy for him. But yeah, it's just cool. I love seeing that, like seeing, you father your kids like at the gig is a pretty special thing, like to witness. And just that energy that I see, how you're able to connect and relate with them like on the bandstand is pretty sweet. And then once you're able to take a break, kind of invite them in and have that be a part of your guys' relationship is pretty special, I'm sure, for you.
Oh yeah, man. And my thing is with him, because I come out of church, so that's everything I learned. East Oakland, First Morning Star Baptist Church, that's where I learned it from. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And then and the funny thing about church, and it took me a while to learn this playing with a full band, is that it was just drums and organ. It'd be myself on drums and my dude Leonard Jones on organ. And Leonard would be holding down the bass with his left hand on the organ and chording. And I'm drumming, but the songs we get will be like a full, bass, guitar, horns, the whole arrangements. And we're trying to learn all these arrangements just between us two.
Yeah.
So it took me about 2 years to really learn how to play with a full band because I was so used to doing so much, trying to cover for all the other instrumentation on the records that I was learning. So, it's not an easy move from church over to playing with a full-time, gig because you feel like you're doing so much. So, I mean, honestly, man, the Tyrone you hear now is very scaled back from about 15 years ago.
Yeah,
very scaled back.
It's funny you say that too, because I don't know if there's a drummer out there in the world, let alone Portland, that like is more like tasteful and like serving like what the music needs than you, bro. Like it's just like that's just facts, like you're special in that regard because like you only make the music sound better. You're never like trying to get in the way, and like especially with someone that's able to chop out as much as you are, you're like never wanting to like insert yourself unnecessarily. And so like that's always been something really cool that I've been able to witness like for the last, I don't know, 5 years. We've known each other since I kind of came out of school and whatnot, and saw you drum more and more. That was like, I tell you this all the time, but like watching you drum is just a free lesson every time, bro. Like, because
thank you, man.
your approach is something I've wanted to emulate forever, but also, like your sensitivity, your ear is like really second to none. I've heard in any map, in any landscape, let alone Portland. So yeah, man, that's kind of funny that your background was grabbing all the parts and you needing to scale that back. Because man, it couldn't be more the opposite these days.
I had to scale it back, man. And look, I come from I'm 43 now, thank God. And I come from a generation, man. They would kick your butt off the drums, man, if you wasn't doing what you're supposed to do.
Word.
I come from that, man. I got cymbals took off. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, man, you're gonna play the hi-hat, the snare, and the kick for 45 minutes like this without doing the fill. You know what I'm saying? So I come from that genre, man. And trust me, a lot of these kids are doing phenomenal chops. I don't know what's in the water. These kids, man, it's some incredible feels going. I mean, stuff. I mean, like, I looked at this 10-year-old the other day,
man,
chopped me out the water. But my thing is, can this kid just groove? What's gonna get him paid? You know what I'm saying? The chops are the groove.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And that's that's just 100% true. And kids today are different, bro. They're coming up, and not that there weren't kid phenoms, but nowadays it's like there's a ton of them out there. Where
it's a ton
like
of them.
it's inspiring to see. I'm always on like that Instagram life where I'm just checking in with like what's kind of hip these days. But yeah, bro, kids today are different, but there's no questioning that like they're gonna have to develop some maturity, like just the same way you had to in transitioning from like playing all the things to like playing barely anything when it comes to like time to get paid on a pocket gig.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It's it's a huge difference, man. I'm telling you, and it's like I said, it first has to come from what you were saying earlier. How can you serve the music without overdoing it? You know what I'm saying? Staying in that lane. And it's a way to do it. You don't have to. You don't need to. It's got to be about the music. That's just where it comes from. It's just got to be about the music. There's no other way to explain it. You know what I'm saying? If you let the music get in your soul, the rest of it will happen, man. It'll happen organically. So.
Yeah, and that's just it's obvious when anyone's listening to you that you just let the music take over you, and you're just only playing what you hear. Something that I try to do my best of every single gig is just play what I hear, and that's exactly what's coming out of your playing, man. And aside from that, you also have the ability to command a band better than most drummers I've ever seen, which is great to have both aspects be working simultaneously. It's not that you're like so passive all the time to just like only taking that behind the scenes approach and letting everyone else talk, but like you also are able to flip the script and engage and command like, hey y'all, like we're going into this thing now. And that's what I love. Like anytime I watch you at the Goodfoot, I'm always just like post it up. I'm like, where's the audible coming from Tyrone in a second? Like, you know what I'm saying? Everyone knows it's coming when it's like 5 minutes into a funk jam. And I'm like, all right, where's Tyrone taking this shit? This is going to be fun. It's like it's cool, man. Like the fact that you're able to like do both so well at the same time. Because there's drummers I feel like that do one of those things really well, or just like command a demanding force, like and want people to follow them at all times. And there's people that just are cool sitting back and like really servicing the music. But the fact that you're able to do both so well is something that I've always like noticed and wanted to constantly have growth in those two areas.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, being on the drums, you are commanding the groove.
Absolutely.
So I tell this to any drummer. A bass guitarist, a regular guitarist, a keyboard player, singer, any of them can mess up. But if we fumble, it's over.
Oh yeah, it's just it train wrecks, man. That's the funny thing about being a drummer is like, yeah, when we screw up, it's like, whoa, what just happened? Like everyone notices. It's like, man, what the hell is going on here? But yeah,
it's like a skip record, man. So we have to command what's happening at all times. And I mean, honestly, you know, any great artist wants a drummer to command behind the set. You know what I'm saying? Keep the post, you know, keep it from getting too out there. Keep that post right where it needs to be.
Absolutely.
So I would tell any artist, you know, you want to find you a drummer that's gonna command what's happening back there. You know what I'm saying? Instead of thinking that a drummer with phenomenal chops is that. That's not necessarily true.
I agree. It can be both, but doesn't mean the other for sure. And that's I remember just to kind of tell you a quick story. I remember the first time seeing you play drums was at the, when the Dookie Jam was kind of still popping off, when I was like finishing graduating school. And just real quick, I was checking out the jam for the first time because our mutual homie Peter, who I was going to school with at the time, he was like, bro, you got to come out this. Like, this is the hit. Like, this is everyone killing in town. You got to like come in, sit in, like, you know, like meet these folks. And so I go there and I'm like, you know, like I go there and like you're already playing with the house band. I'm just like, oh my God, who is this dude? Like, this is crazy. Like, I didn't know Portland got down like this because I was just not out in the scene yet, right? You know, like I barely turned 21 or whatever. Like, you can't really go out and check out much live music. You just like kind of hear about shit and you go check it out. So then it was you, and you probably played for like 20 minutes, a half hour. I was like, damn, like I was like, this is going to be like the drummer I check out now. And then following you, bro, was Dennis Dove. And I was I was like, shout out to Dennis. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on in here? Like, and then Dennis gets up and Shook gets on. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm about to fucking leave. Like, this is getting so out of hand. And, you know, I'm just like developing my sound at this point, kind of like deciding like how it is I want to approach the drums. And like all you are like at a young age, like to me at that point was just like all this accumulation of like knowledge, right? And like you're trying to still shape it.
Yep.
I have things to say.
Okay. Got our neighbors walking down the street. Sorry about
that. Word. Tyrone, the neighborly face, man. But yeah, bro, I just remember like without a doubt just being like, oh my God, how the hell am I supposed to like follow these dudes? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, so I get up there and I'm like, all right, bro, you like, you know how to play, like you can do your thing. Like, and so I had to follow you three, and that's my first memory of watching you play, Tyrone, is having to follow you, and then Dennis, and then Shook right away at like, you know, this like green thumb, like 21-year-old kid. I'm like, fuck, man, this is exactly what I want to get on. But it was like crazy having to like do that and be like the first drummer up after that. I was like, all right, like let's chill in the pocket, Kirk. You got this. You know, let's not get too wild tonight.
Well, the purpose of the Dookie, man, and you know, big shouts out to Tony Ozier
for sure.
Tony, you know what I'm saying? It was to get people to come out and express themselves, but we wanted everybody from any type of genre, you know, any type of background to come in. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of bands that got formed out of the Dookie Jams a lot of musicians, it built their confidence up.
No doubt. That was me
now
for
they're
sure.
just killing. Yeah, now they're just killing. You know what I'm saying? So that was really the whole purpose, man. You know, it wasn't never about this person trying to outdo this person. Some people may have thought that was, because some people used to come in a Doogie Jam in the first hour. Me and Dennis would literally play, and we would just go back and forth.
Right.
But we're two different drummers from two different coasts. You know what I'm saying? I love what Dennis does. Dennis, I've learned so much just sitting back, just looking at him. Yeah, just like seeing what he's done, man. You know what I'm saying? So I take a little bit of what he does. He'll take a little bit of what I do. And man, we would just have fun just trading, 16s. It didn't matter. Or 8s. It didn't matter. And then he would just like get off the drums, go play the buckets, and then Shook, somebody would come up. Like we would have 2 drum kits and like a bucket set up. Man, it used to be, trust me, it used to be at least 20 of us on the stage at one time.
Bro, I remember though. I mean, yeah, I might have not have seen it at the peak, but back in like 15 or whatever when I first checked it out, that shit was popping off still, man. And so yeah, exactly what you just said, how it kind of like bred a lot of people, like specifically my age and between your age, like kind of coming up in the scene. It was definitely like a learning grounds for me. Like that was like class time for me, like from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I was like, that was, I learned more from that than any class I took in college. Like real talk. Cause I was just like, oh, here's probably my new 3 favorite drummers ever. Like, and here's how they make a band sound. And here's exactly like what I'm trying to emulate as like a groove based player that also, wants to express themselves and like once in a while add to the music. And so, yeah, just being able to hear you guys in that setting was like so, I guess formative for me, right? In those New Year's after getting into college, getting in the scene, like getting to know how I want to sound. Like y'all like literally helped shape that for me. So it's always cool like seeing you guys play now and just remembering back to those old days of like first coming through the doors of this like dingy ass Dante's bar and being like, what the fuck is going on in here? This shit is nuts. This shit is insane. So that was like, yeah, I just had to like tell you that story. And I remember going up to you. You always like sat in the back corner with your leather jacket on. And I'm like, yo, what's up, man? I'm Kirk. I just want to say like that was crazy, man. Like I look forward to seeing you play a lot more. And so it's cool to look back on that now, like consider you a homie, consider you a mentor, and be able to like, reminisce on those days of just like first finding out what it is.
Man, appreciate it, man. I mean, that's really what we're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? All this information out here is not for us to hold in. We're supposed to get the information to all the youngins that's coming underneath us. And I mean, like, I'm a senior. I'm really a senior now. You know what I'm saying?
That grade's coming in nice, though, bro.
These grades is in. It's what it is.
That's a good look. It's a good look.
I mean, I tell anybody, man, I have no problem ever sitting down. If you want to talk drums, just find out. I mean, for me, I'm like, just find out my background, and you'll get everything that you need to know. You know what I'm saying? And I've never had any type of lessons. I just learned off the ear. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, church was my lesson. I learned everything I need to know in church. Every groove, because gospel, it covers everything. It's nothing is out of bounds in gospel music.
It's so true though. It's so true though. There is elements of like, not to like get nerdy and technical about it, but there's elements of jazz and rock and like in Latin, like all that shit exists in gospel music, which is why to me, I think like, I don't know if there's like enough besides guys of strictly like a jazz background, like everyone else I listen to and am inspired by has a church background. Like it's just facts. Like it's true. And I didn't grow up playing in the church. So those are all the guys that I'm inspired by to develop my sound from that. And so, that's just real talk. Like dudes that played growing up in the church just sound different, man. They sound more expressive. They like, not to paint just a broad stroke, but that's just how I feel because most of the guys I listen to share certain qualities. Not that they all sound the same because that's just not true, but they share certain tendencies and qualities and have this well-rounded voice on the kit that like, is certainly obvious that that's bred from growing up and playing in the church.
Yeah, no, all day, man. I mean, for me, in Oakland, it was nothing else to do. So, man, thank God for my pastor at the time. He would open up the door to the church. I literally lived like 2 blocks down from there, and he would let me and my dude just go in there and play. So,
that's so dope.
That was my, like I said, that was my expression. It was a million other things in Oakland I could have did. You know what I'm saying? But I knew music. This was something that I wanted to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I just knew my calling when I was like 10, 11 years old. That was it. So,
That's what's up, man.
And all the doors I've been able to travel around the world. I mean, I tell you, man, I wish musicians, if we took a record of how many hotel rooms, airplane rides, free stuff we've been able to accumulate over the years.
Yeah.
If you took those numbers, it would trip you out. It would trip you out if you really sat back and calculate all the numbers out of just experiences that you cannot take back that you've been able to see.
Yeah, man.
I was looking at his Villa Motown the other day with my fiance, and I remember in Detroit, 2011, I was able to stand on the stairs and take a picture right on those doorsteps. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's something that you can't take away.
Nope.
So it's so many memories. And man, musicians, man, like yourself, man, everybody's cool, man. I'm like, I've always felt it's been like an attack on music because music has no racial barriers or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Word.
I've had great friendships, met great people throughout the country and the world, man. That everybody's just cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel no weirdness with folk. You know what I'm saying? Some people can be a little out there, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's them in their spare time. But other than that, when they're around you, man, they're cool. So I'm thankful, man. I can play music full time. Like there's a full time job for me, so I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it is a blessing, and obviously, not everyone's lucky enough to do it. You gotta carry yourself a certain way. You have to be at a certain level, and obviously, you've been there for a long time. What was that like? First getting out of being a church drummer into that scene? Can you I guess talk about that for a second, what that transition was like for you?
So here's the crazy part. So in Oakland, born and raised, I primarily played gospel. I was one of the top gospel players out there, played on a number of records. Pretty much came under the guidance of Joe Smith, who is the godfather of bass and drums in the gospel, gospel world. Just period, one of, to me, the greatest musician to ever live. That's just me, period, hands down. You know what I'm saying? And I got a chance to actually play on a recording with him while I was on drums, he was on bass. But yeah, it was primarily gospel. Moved here in 2004. Played at this church in Vancouver and met LaRonda and Mark Steele.
Yeah.
And I played literally my first club gig with them. R&B, blues, all that. So Portland, when I moved here in 2004, has kind of been the nurturing for me moving out of the gospel realm and to play blues, R&B, funk, all that. I literally was just playing just church in Oakland. Then I moved here. This is like a second phase of my career. Started playing club gigs out here.
That's what's up, man. What brought you to Portland in the first place, Tyrone? Was it was it certain relationships that you just had already?
All right, man, I'm gonna trip you out. I came down in 2002 with my uncle. We did a revival with Heaven Bound Church out here in Portland. Pastor Hosley. Bishop Hosley now. Bishop Hosley. And I'm rolling on the 205, and I look over, and man, I saw Mount Hood. Sun was shining on it, snow, clear day. And I'm like, man, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I want to check this spot out some more. And so I got in contact with a good friend, Tommy Hammond. And, I don't know. I just feel like from that just seeing that view, I fell in love with Portland, right off that view right there. And I met a couple musicians, Anthony Jones, T. Jones, like I said, Tommy Hammond, Chris Turner, Famous Fame, my dude. And man, they were very cool cats. And I was like, you know what? I ain't got nothing to lose. Let me move on out here. And I did.
Yeah, man.
I literally did. And then, like I said, coming in, playing with LaRonda is the one who introduced me to Liv Warfield. She was like, I got this artist. I know this artist out here that you would sound dope playing for. So
That's so fire, man. That's so
oh,
dope.
it's crazy. It's crazy. So literally, Liv and Sadell Jones come to my church, Trinity Pentecostal Church, Church of God in Christ. And I met them. I go to a rehearsal a couple weeks later at TSU. I meet Sean Foote, Dan Goudet. And man, it's like this energy just came into me that I really loved playing with her, man. And that's kind of what built our relationship over the last 15 years. So yeah, that was kind of the start.
That's truly special, bro. And yeah, it's always certain. To me, it was like just a few relationships, like yourself, that like really grounded me in this scene and made me want to like really branch out. It always starts with like a couple people that you connect with, major. And yeah, man, I understand what it's like coming here for school. It probably took me like 6 months like to realize I was here. I was staying after college for sure. I feel like Portland, man, like it gets everyone to drink the Kool-Aid, man, like right away, dude. Like if you come here and like there's just a special environment, like you said, all the nature around, it's just like is pretty glorious, man. And there's no other way to put it until you see it, and then you realize, oh, I can actually play music here. So that was for me. That was for me like the realization of like, oh, word, I actually can carve out my own little thing here. You know, similar to what you were just talking about, and knowing that would exist here, and there's enough of a scene here to like eventually get to the point where now I'm lucky enough to say I do this full time. So that's dope. And shout out to LaRonda, the homegirl. I love LaRonda, man. She's I'm lucky to have gotten to know her more in the last year or so, 2 years, and that was from this Sade tribute I did with my other
nice.
homegirl,
oh yeah, that's right.
Josephine Antoinette. So yeah,
that's at Jack London, right?
Yeah, those have been some fun hits. But LaRonda's a real one, man. She keeps it 150%.
Oh yeah,
all the time,
all day.
Yeah,
Mama still, man. Mama still.
Absolutely.
That's her right there. I need to, matter of fact, I need to check in on her.
Absolutely.
Check in on my mama still.
Absolutely. Yeah. Definitely give LaRonda a call, man. That's what's up, man. I knew parts of your background, but it's cool hearing you kind of put the whole puzzle together for me in that regard. Just kind of hearing how it is you moved to Portland and how you got going. How long did you play with Liz?
Man, I mean, if she was to call me for a gig right now, if I ain't doing nothing, I'll be there. You know what I'm saying? Word. So I mean that out of all the artists I've played for, she's the absolute funnest because it's it's a chemistry that we have. I feel I bring out the best in her, and I feel she brings out the best in me playing. You know what I'm saying? Like I just vibe off everything that's going on. So I mean, and you know, she was the one that got me into the whole situation with Prince because she was singing background for with the MPG for a while, and that was, you know, she brought us in, you know, and we were able to Prince co-produce her album, The Unexpected, and we were able to play on that record. You know what I'm saying? And I got some time at Paisley. I got time to play with the new car generation. So I mean, you know, big shots out to Liv, man. She's opened up doors tremendously for me. And, you know, when I started doing my album, she was one of the first ones to really reach out to me and be like, I'm glad to see you going on this journey of, you know, becoming an artist. Because she's like, I heard that in you already, you know. So just for playing with her band, you know, I was an MD for her for a while, you know, which is huge, you know, coming from a drummer aspect of it, you know.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
I was going to serve the sound of, I was going to be the sound of what she needed. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, if it was something that she was missing from somebody in the band, I would be able to help guide them to the sound that she was looking for. You know? So
yeah, that's so dope, man. And even if you love playing with 100 different people and enjoy being in their bands and whatnot, there always is a few dudes that you just connect with, or that you just have a different, like, elevated relationship with, where you just know what they want. They get your playing. They know exactly how to convey to you to get out exactly the sound they want. And that's pretty special, man. Yeah, there's definitely a few people out there like that. And I look forward to meeting some more where you just immediately have that essence of like, oh, this is like unspoken. This is like
Yeah.
an extra special ingredient that we have just because we vibe so well together.
Well, I feel with the independent artists now that are coming out, everybody has their sound. A lot of major artists that are out don't have a sound because the industry is so copycat. It's like they're trying to find the next this, the next that, the
No
next
doubt.
this, the next that. And so the reason why the Temptations, you know, the Four Tops, you know, like Motown had their thing. You know, Stevie had his thing. They all have their own distinct sound. And that is the number one thing I feel that is missing from music today. Sounds. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
I don't want to hear 10 different cats sounding the same. I want you to be you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why like Ghost Note is killing. You know, Snarky Puppy's killing.
Yep.
You know, the Motet, you know what I'm saying? They're killing. You know what I'm saying? So it's so many different groups. In Power, they're killing. You know what I'm saying? Nigel Hall, he's doing his thing.
No doubt.
Positive agenda. That's one thing about Portland love. It's not copycat. Everybody's doing their own thing.
No, man.
Take Her of Memory, Jerry Lawson, you know what I'm saying? Tony Ozier, you know what I'm saying? Farnell Newton.
Absolutely.
Everybody's doing their own thing, man, and it's great. You know, Arietta Ward, she got her, you know, she's just coming out right now. You know, she's doing her thing.
Yo, Tyrone, remind me, who plays drums for those cats, bro?
Now look, I'm a part of what they do.
It's just facts, bro. I mean, you're you know, putting it lightly, you're in all my favorite projects in town, and you've put some people onto certain projects and whatnot, but you know, they all come from that lineage of Tyrone's Pocket, man, and helping develop their sound and whatnot when they were putting out their first albums, and some of which you still play in their bands full time. But yeah, man, everyone you just listed is everyone that I, you know, fuck with so heavy in this city. And I'm just, you know, hoping the rest of the world one day can appreciate how much talent and how much unique sounds are coming out of Portland. Not just like on call support players, but like people creating like wonderful original music out here. But yeah, shout out to all those people listed just now by you.
And man,
couldn't help but notice.
Look, you got Morel, man. I mean, it's so many.
I know.
It's cool. It's cool.
It's
Everybody
fire.
is doing their own thing, man, and I love it. I love the not copycat situation. That is, it's great. It is great, man. I love, like, just like I said, man, I've always had this thing, like, I have to enjoy playing music with you. You know what I'm saying? It should never be a stress thing. You know what I'm saying? Music should be just free flowing and just having a blast. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel the best stuff comes out of having a blast. Some people be making this stuff stressful, man. I'll be like, it really shouldn't be this stressful doing this.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you love doing what you do. You know, so we got to get back to the sound, Kirk. We got to get back to the sound, baby. I'm just listening, man. The sound, man. I want to hear them sound.
Yeah, man. I'm just trying to get back to a gig, man. Just trying to get back to one gig, but yeah, man. I'm trying out here for sure, and taking influence from all those people you just mentioned. But yeah, it's been pretty heavy for me being able to come into a scene and have access to all that, man. And it's a blessing to call Portland my home for that reason. It's not like there's this going on in every scene across the country. Like there's a certain hotbed of talent here that like exists, and not everyone, even though everyone you just listed has some elements of like soul and maybe some gospel and maybe some jazz influence and some funk, but like they're not all doing the same shit at all. You know, like that's what's so dope about it. Like everyone has a unique voice, and when you hear Miss Etta sing versus Miss LaRonda sing, it's just crazy different. And those
crazy different. Yeah.
And those are like two of the baddest like female vocalists we have. So yeah, to your point, man, it's just like I'm always inspired by, you know, the generation before me, and also like the younger people coming up, like you know, also have a lot to say, and it's pretty spectacular to kind of be mixing all of these personalities now. I feel like in the last couple of years, like this scene has done a really nice job of kind of mixing some of the younger crew, like of maybe my age or younger, and with you guys. And you know, shout out to you for always like hitting me up for like a sub gig and allowing those relationships to be like created through those avenues. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, no, that's how it's supposed to be, man. You know what I'm saying? If I respect your plan and I know you can get the job done, I'm gonna call you in. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't handle certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it just is what it is, man. I forgot to mention Michelangelo Wilson, man. She's doing her thing too.
Oh yeah,
you know
shout out to Mike. What's up, Mikey?
Yeah, man. So and now you subbed in on the. It was funny because you did the video for me when I couldn't make it.
Yeah, bro. I was really trying to see you in that wig. If just for reference, if y'all know what we're talking about, go check out Michaelangela's cover video of the Foo Fighters track.
Yeah,
Pretender. Yeah. And I was filling in. I had to learn Tyrone's drum groove for this in like, I don't know, 18 hours I had or something before, like. And then I still didn't know if you were gonna do the gig the next morning, but I was like, yeah, dude, like I shouldn't, like this will be fun. But man, there's this wig I had to wear to emulate Taylor Hawkins, the drummer for the Foo Fighters. And the biggest shame of all was that Tyrone was supposed to wear this fucking wig, and it would have just killed. It would have killed so hard. But I made it look good. I made it fashionable for you, Tyrone.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Yeah, it was crazy, man, because I was on jury duty for the guy that killed those people on the Max.
What's that?
The guy that killed the people on the Max. That was the.
Are you kidding me?
No.
That's the jury you had to. Did you? You didn't get picked for it though.
No.
You didn't get selected, man.
No.
Yeah. Damn. Well, that's good, man. But that's heavy, bro. That's real heavy. And
yeah,
oh man.
As soon as I found out, I called my guys like, "There's no way I'm getting out this jury duty."
Yeah.
They were like, "No, you're coming in. Or are you going to jail?" I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to. Make this call real quick. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because at the time I had just done jury duty myself the week before, just like coincidentally, and I was like, and Michael called me and was like, "Hey, like, can you maybe do this?" And I was like, "For sure, that'd be fun as hell." But like, I don't see Tyrone getting out of this. Like, just to give you a heads up, like, there's not a chance in hell I could have got out of my jury duty last week. Like, just seeing how it operated, like. They're seriously serious about that shit, and like I guess for good reason. We gotta keep the system afloat somehow. But they're unless you have someone dying or someone in your family, like you're not getting out of that.
Yeah, she wrote a cover letter and everything to the judge. I was like, nope, not happening.
Yeah,
you coming in? So yeah, man,
that makes sense.
Thank you very much for doing that, my brother.
Of course, bro. I got you all the time, every time. You call me, I'm gonna show up.
Yeah, that was probably one of the funnest tracks for me to ever play. Like that track was fun.
Yeah, your groove on that, the breakbeat shit is just so unique and so Tyrone, man. So it was fun. I love learning your parts, dude, and it's always helped me kind of create different avenues within a groove that I've already had my own vocabulary for. Kind of adding like some of your subtleties to shit has certainly like influenced my sound over the years. But yeah, that's just like, I mean, learning parts of like people you want to eventually sound like or emulate. Who were some dudes for you when you were coming up? Like, were you like, oh, like this is my guy, or like, did you have any mentors or just drummers that you really wanted to sound like or emulate in your own playing?
Well, like I said, Joel Smith, rest in heaven. He was the main one. Hawkins family. He was the sound of all that, and like I said, gospel wise, bass and drums, he was the man. And Kevin Brunson, he was another one I listened to, the Milton Brunson Choir. I studied a whole bunch of fields from him. Gerald Haywood, when it came to R&B, he was a guy. Gordon Campbell, Will Kennedy, Omar Hakeem. I loved his playing. And Dave Weckl, Vinny, Dennis Chambers, man, it was so many. And see the crazy part is, like I said, I come from a whole other generation. Y'all got YouTube and stuff, man. We didn't have that. We had VHS cassette tapes.
I know, man.
We just had the cassette tapes we could listen to. So it was cool because I would just go to the credits and be like, oh, this guy played the drums. But it wasn't like I could go to a computer and like press them in like you guys can now.
Yeah, you can't just type in Vinny Caliuta and have some shit like have 90,000 videos come up all at the click of your finger. So yeah, I mean we're fortunate. I kind of like came up in the first generation with that access, and it's crazy to see the generation even behind me like having using it even more like at the age of like this tall, and then like that's how you get all these crazy phenom kids like we were just talking about at the top of this video. Yeah. And it's inspiring, man. But yeah, it's cool. Everyone's got their own thing. Everyone. Yeah. I'm a firm believer, and there's like room for everyone in this world. Like you were saying, like some dudes can be weird about it, but I just think it's just a waste of time to take that approach. If you're trying to like push people out or not connect people further into what we're doing. So it's really cool to always hear your approach in that regard, and not just when it comes to playing, but how much you embrace this scene and embrace the younger generation, including myself, man, has always been really dope.
Yeah. And see, those are just the guys, like on records and stuff I heard. Like I said, Joel, it was great to have access to him because he's from Oakland. Yep. But man, it was my dude Omar Maxwell, Thomas Pridgett when he was little. Tom was like 10, 12 years old, just crushing. Rob Anderson, man, Tommy Bradford, my dude Aaron Green, and then Corey Bruh, my god brother from Oakland right now, killing. I mean, man, it's just a million drummers, man. Then I get out here, you got Anthony Jones, B Fox, Corey, the youngest coming up, yourself, man, Shook, D-Dub, like it, man, it's so many different drummers. Charles Tellis, man, I could, Richard Lawrence, man, I can keep going.
Yeah, it's crazy, man, and it's
Benji up in Seattle, man. I'm like, man, it's cats, man.
Yep.
Superman, Conrad, man, it's dudes out there, man. So yeah, I get inspiration from everybody, man. Everybody, I get inspiration from everyone. There's no big I, no little one. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, man. I love hearing their playing. So.
That's what's up, man. I couldn't have said it better. A couple of these dudes, we got Brian and Shook in the comments section earlier, but yeah, shout out to all the homies if any are checking in, and yeah, just keeping this scene as special as it is. Having
y'all keep me young, bro.
I don't know about that, man. You look like you're having enough fun internally each gig.
Hey, like I said, that's my outlet, my therapy, bro. But trust me, seeing y'all play, you was doing some eye meter thing the other day, man. I was checking out a clip, and I'm like, I can't do that. I can't do that at all. You got to show me that, man. I'm sitting there just like, okay.
Well, one of these days we got to get a in-person shed together, man. That still hasn't happened, and that's a shame. We'll make that happen at some point, and just be able to trade some ideas for sure. I know you have a much larger encyclopedia to offer than I do, but nonetheless, we got to make that happen in the future, bro.
Trust me, man. I'm just a student, still learning every day, man.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
We all are, man.
Always have that learning expectation. When you go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, real talk, bro. Real talk. What's a piece of advice you'd give to younger drummers? Just to go there real quick, as far as like, if you just had a bit of advice to offer, like people maybe when I was like 21, like that at that level of like trying to do this legitimately and make a profession out of it. Do you have like something particular that you kind of latched onto or that you would share to that like up and coming drummer?
First off, I would tell any up and coming drummer, man, be humble. There's always somebody out there that can outplay you. First off, just remember that. Be humble.
Facts.
Always be open to suggestions. There's nothing wrong with that, man. You know what I'm saying? Just because you hear it a certain way doesn't mean that's right for what's going on with the music. So always be open to hearing things. You know what I'm saying? Even if they're not a drummer, it doesn't matter. That the music may need you just to do this little simple. It don't need nothing else. You know what I'm saying? Definitely learn when you're learning music, learn all the music. And what I mean by all the music, learn the lyrics from the artist, keyboard parts, lead guitar parts, bass. It don't matter. Learn it all. You should be way more on top of your game than anybody else in that room. Everybody should be on top of their game.
Oh,
But
I
you should
love
know
that, man.
everybody's stuff.
I love that so much. Wait, I don't want to cut you off. I want you to continue, but that is so important, and like not everyone does that, man. And it's something. I think it's like the singular reason why I get called back. Like if people like my playing or like the vibe that I created with their music, that's great. But like specifically, just to piggyback on the importance of that shit is like really people notice when you know their music. Like they notice right away when you come into rehearsal and being like, "Yo, like on this bar, like I just had a question on this or some shit," and like I see artists all the time be like, "Good shit." Like I'm super glad like you dove in to the extent you did. But yeah, man, I don't want to cut you off. So if you have some more tidbits,
look,
throw them in.
I'm about to give you my Stevie Wonder story.
We got a Stevie story.
Oh yeah. So
we don't need to pay the premium subscription for this one, do we, Tyrone?
Nah, man. Nah,
all right, we good here.
But having that approach, I never rehearsed with Stevie. Ever got the opportunity. I got called. They're like, Ben, here's your ticket. Boom, boom. We went to Toronto to play. It was Drake's birthday party, OVO Fest. And they sent me the DVD, like learn all the stuff on the DVD, all the songs. We talking about 2.5 hours of just songs, classics, but all these classics got hits.
Yeah, different live arrangements, right?
Yes. So, I was nervous. I'm a nervous wreck. I'm like, I have not rehearsed or nothing. But he got to playing the songs, and I nailed every one of them hits down the, And he was like, man, thank you so much for doing this. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, you just never know when you're going to be thrown in the fire. So when somebody sends you a rehearsal, MP3 or something like that, man, learn that stuff down as much as you can. You know what I'm saying?
Preach, bro.
Because you just never know if you're going to get that rehearsal in or you're just going to get thrown on the spot. And I've been thrown on the spot a lot.
Oh, yeah, man.
A lot.
No doubt.
So, take that time to practice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, for me, if I'm washing dishes, if I learn somebody's music, I can throw it on and be washing dishes, and I'm learning it, and then I just rewind that, learn that part again. So you have to internalize the music first and foremost. You have to internalize the music. So I mean, and that was that's by far like one of the biggest gig I played, and I did not have a rehearsal. It was just
bro. That's a sweaty palm moment, probably for sure.
All day.
How?
And look, I didn't even know he was playing with a click track.
Word?
Like, oh yeah, we played with a click track, and I'm like, oh Lord, that's so.
Oh damn, God, that's a new level of yeah.
I have my in-ears there, so here we go. So you just gotta be
ready.
Let's
go, Tyrone. That's the dopest shit I've ever heard.
You gotta be ready, man. You gotta be ready. So.
Oh man, that's for sure, man. Like in practice like you're ready to get that call, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that's special, man. I guess there's a couple artists that you've played with like over the years, but yeah, at that level of like Stevie or Prince, has there ever been someone where you just like have to sit back and like have an out of body experience while you're on the bandstand, or are you just like taking the same approach to like playing a local bar gig? Like, did it feel the same, or was there a moment in your head where you just had to like be like, holy fuck, that's Stevie Wonder?
You know what? When it came to Stevie, it definitely was that. It definitely was that. He has an aura about him. He walks in a room and things stop. You know what I'm saying? You can just be like doing some talking and he just walks in and boom, it just stops. So I definitely had that experience with him. Prince was a little different because we actually got to rehearse his stuff. But here's the crazy part. Me and my good friend Ryan Waters, when we got the call, we sat on the stage for about 2 hours waiting on him, Liv, Shelby, Andrew Goucher, shout out to Andrew Goucher, waiting on them because they were trying to, they were figuring out what set we were doing. So we don't know what we're playing. You know what I'm saying? We have no idea. And literally he comes in and it's like, comes up, shakes our hands, Is like, you guys are going to learn like about 40 of my songs. And literally, we had 10 days to learn like 40 of his songs, where we talking about segues and the other songs, breaks here. It was crazy. It was crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like I said, you just got to be ready, man. You know what I'm saying? With him, you got to have that notebook out, jot the notes down. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was, man. Cassandra O'Neal, big shouts out to her. She was, basically kind of ending the whole situation when we did that. And yeah, man, we just had to get in there and woodshed and learn. So it was a little different from Stevie to Prince. You know what I'm saying? But
I feel you.
man, but I thank God for, man, just having the opportunities to playing those gigs. And also with the Stevie gig, man, my bro Mike Phillips, he just put out his new record, Pull Off the Covers, man. I played like 2 songs on that record. He was the one that literally got me, hooked me up with that opportunity. And Mike, man, he comes from that school. He's played with Stevie, Prince, everybody, and he's been in a room with them, and he brought his experiences from rehearsing with them to how he goes about his rehearsals. And the rehearsals can be pretty intense. You know what I'm saying? I remember when the first time I played with him, I came in this to the younger drummers again. I came in about 40% prepared, and he called me on it. You know what I'm saying? Now, did I get my feelings about it? Nope. I just went home the next day and woodshedded it and came back. I was ready to run.
Yep.
And he said that out of any single thing I've ever did, he said that really impressed him. That I was like, I took the challenge on, went home and learned his stuff like I should have been the first time I walked in the room. You know what I'm saying?
Bro,
so,
and that's real.
Like,
and even from you, like, just not having an ego about it is like pretty spectacular. That, like, there's no resume too big to not get called out for that shit, right? Like, at some point it's just like, man, like you really need to learn this music more. And even when you're the best player on the bandstand, it still applies to you.
Still applies. Yep.
Yeah, that's heavy, bro. It's cool. These are my first times hearing you kind of remember those stories of playing with those 2 legends, man. That's crazy. That's some grandkids stuff to tell them later, right? But yeah, that's pretty spectacular, man. So I guess transitioning, I'm curious with your day-to-day outside of the quarantine life, is practicing on drums something that you no longer do in terms of like shedding? It's mostly just applied to like the music you're learning and making that as musical as possible. Is that like your typical daily practice nowadays?
Yeah, playing songs. And if I do get a chance to practice, I'm more grooving.
Yep.
More than anything. It's not like learning a chop or anything. It's more, how can I improve on this groove or improve on this feel in the groove to keep the groove going? You know what I'm saying? So, because I've never looked at myself as a chop drummer, ever. You know what I'm saying? And, like I said, it's cats I can just sit down and just play all over the kit and just go for it. And then you got cats that just groove. So, like, I'm a huge Nate Smith fan.
Oh, man.
I don't know
if anyone grooves harder in the world right now than Nate Smith. I mean, he's got a very individual sound to it. It's just so tight.
Yeah. Nate Smith, man. Robert Sput. I mean,
yep, one of my biggest influences ever.
And when I tell people about Sput, man, Sput was killing the gospel scene before Snarky Puppy.
Yep.
He was killing the gospel scene. So, guys like, for real, like, here. And I sent him some old footage, man, back in the 90s of him playing. You know what I'm saying? God's Property, Kimber Real Live, all that stuff. So, yeah, man, Nate Townsend from New York.
Mm-hmm.
Man, just the dude, he's it's some next level stuff, man. But like I said, it goes back to the sound again. None of them sound the same. Everybody's got their own.
And that's brilliant, man.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's people like, who's your favorite? Like, it's too many to comprehend.
Yeah, I have to list at least 20 cats when it comes to like people asking my biggest influences. But Yeah, man, it's deep. I mean,
Hmm.
luckily we have access to be able to like you said these days be able to just go to YouTube and be influenced by Nate Smith.
Yeah,
'Cause 20 years ago you had to live in New York to be like catching
exactly.
that vibe. So, um, yeah, man, it's just pretty sweet, and that makes a lot of sense. I guess your practice approach. Um,
Hmm.
certain dudes are at a level where they don't really need to be picking up new chops. Like that shit's all internal, and you're definitely at that level where it's like I have everything that I need to say. Now it's just about applying it to different situations, right? So
I know I can still learn more. Like I said, these
of
kids,
course.
man, these chop these kids are doing is amazing.
Oh yeah, dude. Some of these kids are robots, man, and
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, and especially the dudes like you were saying in Thomas Pridgen's like kind of like age group in that whole Oakland scene, man, was just popping off at that point
Hmm.
of all those dudes coming up at the same time like Thundercat and all those guys from Oakland. So that's pretty remarkable. um
Yeah, man.
let's see if there's any questions in here before we dip out today to that
Okay.
people had for you, bro. um let's see. Josh Josh Madriz wants to know which ginger beer Tyrone likes best. Is that an inside joke?
Man, I can't drink no more ginger beer, man. That tell me my blood sugar go up, so I had to quit that.
Word, word. All right. Kyle Owen, shout out to Kyle, another Portland drummer.
Yes, sir.
Wants to know how many toms is too many toms for you individually. Like, do you have a preference on the amount of rack toms you have?
Yeah, I normally play with two, but yeah, anything over four is too many for me.
Yeah.
Anything over four,
Yeah,
that's too many.
I get on big kits where I guess when you were playing in the church growing up, did you have like a gospel big kit, like a 6-piece?
No, you know what? My kid wasn't that big in church. It was normally, a 10, 12, 16.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's now the norm of all the gospel cats have at least like 6 toms, and they use them all. Like
yeah,
they're playing through that shit like beautifully too, and
yeah.
I understand their purpose in those situations to like have more melodic voicings on the kit, like
Hmm.
because to your point earlier, like they're grabbing a lot of shit.
Yeah.
That's what's up. Yeah, I'm a one up, one down guy myself.
All day.
I don't know what to do with all that shit. I mean, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I like playing on big kits, but hey.
I'm not trying to carry all that to gigs, bro. I'm not trying
Yeah,
to carry all that, man.
yeah. Real talk.
No.
I got that Gretsch Catalina club for all my in Portland gigs.
There you go. There
Yeah.
you go.
Word. Let's see if anyone wants to chime in with some questions here at the end of our chat here. Feel free. Otherwise, I think we got to them. Brian said, "Ty, you got that national money. Let a brother hold 100K." Brian's coming in with the jokes.
B Fox. He can't help it, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. B Fox, the Godfather. That's what I call him. The Godfather.
Absolutely, man. Was Brian here before you got to Portland?
No, Brian was here, but he was in Hermisted, I believe, at the time. The first couple of years I was here. Then about 2000, I say 8. No, 2007, late 2007 when he came back. And here's a crazy story. Me and Brian actually were doing double kit with Keegan Smith and the Fam for the longest time.
Oh man, I would love to hear some clips of that. Are those around anywhere, bro?
B probably got him. B holding on to stuff. He got all that stuff, man.
Yo, B Fox, if you got those clips anywhere, man, we need them.
Yeah, he's playing electric kit, and I was playing the live drums. And then with the Dude Folk All Stars, I was playing the live drums, and then Dennis was playing the buckets with partially of a drum kit. So I was playing literally in 2 bands with B Fox and D Dove at the same time period.
The Portland OGs, man. That's who I learned everything from, man. Besides, the household name people on YouTube, as far as getting my doing my research, if you will, in a live setting, y'all are it.
Yeah, man. So, I'm like I said, man. It's unfortunate that we're not playing, man. I love all y'all, and while we got this time down, learn something new. You know what I'm saying? So when we come out of it, you're even bigger and better than what you were when you went in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no question, man. I'm trying to stay motivated and use every day to be productive in another instance, right? Like just there's a ton of room for growth for everyone during this downtime. But yeah, man, we're gonna have some special energy come out on these first gigs back, man. This is gonna be crazy. I can't wait for that.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly. I think we just had a couple others chime in. Oh, B Fox says he does have them. Brian, we're gonna need some links on that, bro.
Yeah, put the clips up. You got
Brian, we're gonna need some links, bro. Throw them up. Josh said, being a marching guy, just wondering if you fellas still mess with rudimental studies or more groove pattern based stuff. So I guess for me personally, yeah, I come from a marching background in terms of like how I grew up in my lessons. So I'm constantly still shedding that shit, Josh, to keep my hands good. And just like learning different ways to apply rudiments on the drum set on like a daily basis. Real talk, like I still look for ways I can put a 6-stroke roll like around the kit and just orchestrate that differently. But like that's just me personally. I like to shed exercises and rudiments still. And then try to put them into a groove setting to answer your question, Josh. I don't know, Ty, like how does that apply to you?
Man, I just listen.
Yeah.
What's funny is, just a Facebook shocker for everybody, I can tell you one rudiment, bro. I've never learned a rudiment. I just heard it and played it.
Fuck, I love that so much, man. I just love your answer to that. That's just incredible to me.
My 9-year-old knows more rudiments than me.
That's some crazy shit to me, man. Like I love that you learn by ear and like you were able to internalize all this stuff to get it in your hands still. It's quite the opposite approach to how most drummers grow up learning the instrument. So that's special, man. That's your bond is just to music and how you internalize it and got to sound the way you do, being all self-taught, and like that's remarkable to me because for me, in Josh's question, I definitely apply all that shit from my background in terms of how I grew up studying drums and rudiments and applying all that shit. So just it's got to be both. If you came from that background, I try not to really think about that shit much other than when I'm in the shed. But yeah, once you get on a gig, all that shit just goes by, and then you're just listening and playing whatever it is that you hear.
But trust me, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of y'all though, because man, cats, I can just sit there and hear it, write it out. Oh man, my dude Chess Hayes said, man, if you ever learn how to do that, bro, we ain't never gonna see you around here. He says that all the time, man. Bro, if you just learn how to do that, man, we would never see you, man. Like you. So I'm like, look, this is where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, yeah, I'm extremely jealous of y'all that can do that though, man. Like for real, like. This is just write it out like it's nothing, man. Just like, huh?
Yeah, it's just different, man. But yeah, if you can't hear it, then there's no use in being able to write shit down, right? So like you got to be able to hear it first.
True.
And then yeah, if you're capable or have the knowledge of transcribing, or I'm not one to transcribe myself. I talk pretty openly about that. I don't like write anything down unless I'm teaching students. Then I think it's important for them to know what they're learning. But yeah, real talk. Like I ain't writing shit down. I just try to hear it and then play it, and then kind of to your approach, be able to use the background and my knowledge of whatever rudiment it takes to get that lick out, and then you just shed it until it flows.
Man, one cat I've seen do that. Reinhardt. Oh my God. Woo.
Yeah, shout out to another amazing Portland drummer, man.
I mean, man, Christopher Brown, he can do it.
Chris Brown, yep, those dudes are great examples of having the knowledge and the crazy ability to hear and play. So yeah, those are guys that are great examples of coming from a more like academic and helpful approach in that regard. Yeah, what up, Dennis? Dennis joined the conversation. What up, Dennis?
Dennis Dove.
And Cliff. What up, Cliff and Dennis? We got all the
Yeah.
OGs in here now.
Cliff, is that Cliff Porter from Reno?
Absolutely. Shout out to
man,
Cliff.
That's my him and B Fox, my heroes, man. They be singing and just doing stuff behind the kit, man. Them dudes, man, get on my nerves.
Yeah, I heard Cliff a couple years ago. I met him at this like low key festival in Idaho, and Jelly Bread was the main on the main stage, like headlining. That shit was special, man. I'll shout out to Cliff, man. Great drummer. He says he's got jokes too. He says they both hopped on my kit and made me just want to hand them the cases and say just take them.
Oh man, please.
But yeah, Cliff's got a lot to say on the kid himself, man. This is a fire alliance here we're building in this comment section. Y'all are all heavy influences.
He's singing at the same time while doing all that though. You know what I'm saying?
I know he's a problem, man. He's a problem.
He's
He's got it. Dennis says Tyrone sings too. When am I going to hear Tyrone sing on a gig?
you gotta. We're gonna pray for that, brother. We're gonna pray about that.
I'm here. I'm here with you.
Don't let D-Dub fool you, boy. D-Dub got that quartet in him. Don't let him fool you.
Absolutely. Well, man, I just can't wait to get back to hearing you guys all play live. You know, shout out to everyone hopping in here and participating, engaging. You know, keeping our conversation fun and it's just keeping us on our toes here. But man, that's. You know, this is going to be some exciting times, I think. So everyone just gets to use this time and reflect and, you know, shed what they want to and just have some room for growth. And whether that's on the kit or on whatever instrument or just, you know, having some time to be who you want to be and when you're not a musician. So that's, yeah, it's all love, man. And, yeah, man, I just appreciate you joining me today, Tyrone, and having this discussion, man. It's been fun talking shop with you and picking your brain, man. As you know, as I said, you're always been a big inspiration and mentor to me, man. So it's very cool to have you on here today, bro. So I just want to say thanks and make sure you're staying healthy and staying well, bro.
Oh, man, thank you, man. Appreciate it, man. Like I said, much love to you. The whole community, man. I think when we get off this thing, I'm gonna have to throw a barbecue, man.
Oh, I'm gonna need to come out to that cookout, bro.
But I need Cliff mom got to come out and cook the catfish though. That's the only way I can make it happen.
Ooh.
That's the only way it can happen. She gotta come out and cook the catfish.
That sounds nice. Yeah, I'm trying to have a bunch of cookouts this summer if we're allowed to unquarantine ourselves, man. So I'm gonna invite you as well when we get to come together and celebrate.
Yeah, we're gonna be real huge when this thing is over with, boy.
Oh man, we're popping off immediately. I know that's true. That's for sure, man. But the gigs are gonna be crazy. All the gatherings are gonna be crazy. But yeah, man. Tyrone, much love to you, bro. You take care of yourself. You and the family all stay good, man.
All right, man. You too, bro. God bless.
God bless, bro. Peace.
Peace.